guys, a couple of days ago I put up a video that I called products I want to see less of in 2019, so I thought today I would do the opposite and do products that I want to see more of in 2019. So this is going to be a way more positive video. Hopefully you guys agree with a lot of the things that I have to say, and hopefully, you know, maybe some brands will listen, but they probably won't because they don't know who I am. But anyway, let's get into the first product that I would like to see more of in 2019, and this is bullet lipsticks that are really thin. So the example that I have for this is my Hourglass lipsticks. I will show you one second. So here's what I'm talking about. This is the one that I have from Hourglass. It's really nice and sleek and thin, and the applicator on it is very precise. Now the thing that I don't like about bullet lipsticks is that I have really small lips, and so I really need to use a lip liner to use a bullet lipstick, and I just don't have time for that. So if I can kind of get like a 2-in-1 where I can use this to line my lips as well as fill in my lips and just have it be one lipstick. I know there are pens that exist. I know NARS has like some pens that you can kind of sharpen and use as a lipstick, and I think those are nice, but I would like to see more products like this. I think that would be awesome because I like the formula on bullet lipsticks, but I don't like the applicators, which is why I really don't have any bullet lipsticks at all. So I would love to see some kind of a variation of like really thin bullet lipsticks, because I think that's a great idea. The next thing that I want to see, I'm going to be all over the place in this video, by the way, because my list is so jumbled up, but I'm just going to go from the start and take it down. So the next thing that I want to see is sites having build your own palettes with singles. Now I know this already exists, but I want sites to have like build your own palettes that can range anywhere from like 2 pans, 4 pans, 6 pans, 8 pans, 12 pans. I want them to have like empty palettes that are meant for a certain amount of shadows, and then I want there to be an option on the site where, you know, you can pay a different price for making like a quad, you can make a 6-pan palette, and so on and so on. I think that would be so cool because it would be a great way to like get the palette that you want with a formula that you want from like a certain site. I think that would be so cool. So I would love to see more of like just like a build your own kind of thing. I think that would be awesome, as well as like face palettes and stuff. I think that would be a really good idea. And speaking of palettes though, I'm gonna go back to what I said in my previous video, and I want to see better color stories. I want people to get away from like the standard basic neutrals with pop that we talked about, and I want to get away from rainbow palettes. I want to see color stories that are centered more around 1 or 2 colors, and then kind of expanding on that and making a story out of it. And so speaking of stories, I also want to see more of like themed collections. I know there's been quite a few this year. The latest one has been like the whole Mickey Mouse craze or whatever, but none of those were very exciting. But I feel like there are so many things that you can take inspiration from, like, you know, like you have the Weed palette, which I think is really cool, the one that Melt just made. I think that's awesome. Like I want to see more of that kind of stuff where a brand takes inspiration from an item or a country or a place or really anything, like nature-wise. There's so many things that you can get inspired from, and then from that inspiration, take the colors that are in that whatever it is that you're taking inspiration from and put it into a palette. I love collections like that because they really come up with nice and different and unique color stories, because it's not just a person sitting down being like, I want to put a blue in this palette, what goes good with blue? You know, you kind of have to think a little bit outside of the box and kind of look at what colors are in whatever the inspiration of the palette is going to be. So I would like to see more of that because there are so many things out there that's possible to take inspiration from, and I think that would be kind of cool. So the next thing that I want to see more of is something that I've complained about for so long, but I want to see more small fluffy blending brushes, and there's such a big market for this, I feel like, and there's not that many out there. I will do a video in December about my favorite eye brushes because I do have a lot, so I just want to kind of show you what I mean. Like this is the E35 from Sigma, and this is a blending brush that a lot of people seem to really like, but if you see the comparison on the size of this compared to all the other ones that I have in my hand right now, you can basically see that this one is like twice the size, you know, like fluffy wise. It's just too big for my eyes. So I would like to see more smaller blending brushes like this. This is a Morphe M506 brush. I love this brush. And I've kind of found a lot of other ones recently. I mean, a lot of them are from Morphe, but it's just because they are the only brand who seem to make these kind of brushes. So I'm sorry in advance if a lot of my recommendations are going to be from Morphe, but that's the only place that I've really found brushes that suit my needs. So I will be making a video on that, like I said, so just keep an eye out. It'll be up in probably like a week or so. Another thing I want to see more of is something that actually seems to be trending now, and that is more duochromes, triple chromes, like quadruple chrome shadows. I don't even know. Like, I want color shifting shadows, but I want there to be a palette, and I know Enchanted Luster Cosmetics, I think that's what they're called. They just came out with a duochrome palette, but that thing was like $120 or something. It was absolutely ridiculous. But I want to see more brands going the route of doing something unique and different with their eyeshadows and making palettes that might not be like a standalone palette, but that you can use with other things. And duochromes and stuff like that, they're so pretty. I want more of it. And most of the ones that I see are in loose form, and I don't like loose eyeshadows. I want them all in one place, because otherwise they just kind of get lost and I forget about them. So I want to see more duochromes in palettes, whether it's a duochrome palette by itself or more just like duo triple chromes put into other palettes. I think that would be so cool, and I love that this trend is kind of coming up now, and I hope that we see more of that in the next year. Another thing that's probably kind of beating a dead horse by now, but I kind of want to see more colored highlighters. I think they're fun. I do want to see more highlighting palettes, like I said in my previous video, that are meant for lighter skin tones and then meant for darker skin tones. I don't want an all-inclusive highlighting palette. I think that is stupid. So I would like for brands to focus more on creating colored highlighters for certain skin types. I think that would be a good idea, and I think it would be kind of popular too. I think a lot of people would be interested in that, because it's kind of hard to find colored highlighters that don't look like they sit weird on your skin, you know? I also don't want like a yellow highlighter that just looks like too yellow. Like I want a slight shift of yellow. Like I want more subtle colored highlighters. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And speaking of colored things, I would also like more colored mascaras. I would love for a brand to come out with like a variety pack of, say, maybe 5 mascaras and have there be like a blue, a yellow, a red, a purple, a pink, and then maybe like a white for like a base. I think that would be really, really cool, but I want them to be minis. And again, I'm being way too specific, but this is just like something that I wish would exist, and I think that would be really fun to play around with on my little lash line and stuff. Now, I'm not a fan of colored mascaras on my top lashes unless it's like a dark blue or something like that, which I don't really use because I haven't found a good formula in a colored mascara yet. But I just like everything that I can experiment with and put in little bits of like unexpected pops of color, because I think that is fun. Another thing that I've seen quite a bit of this year, but I would like to see more of, is shimmery blushes. I'm a big fan of shimmery blushes. I'm actually wearing one today. And I'm wearing the Extra Dimension blush from MAC. This is in Sweets for My Sweet. And it just gives like a subtle sheen, and I like that. I like a lot of blushes like that. I just feel like it makes you look really glowy and healthy. And since I use all matte products otherwise because my skin is very oily, I like products like this because they don't make me look greasy like some other products can. So I'm a big fan of shimmery blushes in general, so I kind of hope that we see some more of that in the next year. And really the only thing that I feel like I am missing in my eyeshadow collection right now is a good neon palette. I want someone to come up with a good neon palette with only neons in it. I think that would be amazing, and I would be all over it. I would buy it right away. I wouldn't even look at the reviews. I just want like a good neon palette that actually blends. And I'm not talking about my Be Elegant loose pigments that I tried. I'll leave that video up there. It was atrocious. It was so bad. I've never worked so hard to get a product to work in my life, and I just completely failed. And it made me question everything that I think I know about makeup. So if you want to laugh, you can watch that video. If not, don't go buy that product. So I want someone to come out with really, really, really good neons. I would love that. Something else that I want that's kind of boring, but I want more brands to come out with finishing powders, because I really like the one from Hourglass. Their ambient lighting powder is so beautiful. I love the way that it sits on my skin. I love the way that it just gives you like a very subtle glow all over, and it's also a nice way to help like blend in all the powders onto your skin and make everything look not so harsh and more blended. And I don't really know a lot of brands that have finishing powders, so let me know down below if you know of any more inexpensive brands that have finishing powders. I would love to try them. I do have one from Too Faced that I like to use, and this is their Peach Blur Powder. It looks like this. I have used this quite a bit, but I don't feel like it does as much as the Hourglass powder does. I mean, it is really pretty, and I do like it. And it does smell pretty good, even though the smell is kind of starting to fade because I've used this for so long. But yeah, let me know if you know of any brands that have nice finishing powders, because I would love to try them. So I guess while we're talking about scented products, I would like more food scented products. And I know I could be in a minority here, but I love everything that smells like food, especially that smells like sweets, and I wish that more holiday collections would smell really good, especially like eyeshadow palettes and stuff, you know? Like, I don't care for skincare that smells good. I'm not really into that. Like, I just don't want my skincare to have ingredients in it that I don't necessarily need because it can be aggravating to my skin. So I would like more products to be good smelling, especially lipsticks and stuff. I know L'Oreal came out with like a chocolate line, and then you have the Bite Beauty coffee glosses, which they smell so good, but I don't really like the shades. So I want more of that. I want more of sweet smelling products. I don't know, that's one of the few things that marketing wise I'm such a sucker for. I love everything sweet, so if you tell me that something smells like a glazed donut, like I'll probably go to the store and smell it even if I don't like the product, and then if it smells like a glazed donut, there's a chance I'll buy it. So if you want me to buy your products, just make them smell good. The last two things that I want to see more of are minis. I love me some minis, but not for everything. One thing I don't like in a mini is mascaras, because I feel like the applicator just ends up being too tiny. Like, I have this one from, what is it, Smashbox, and I just feel like it's so awkward when this thing is so small. I feel like, I don't know, there's something about mini mascaras that I can really only use on my lower lash line, because I find them so weird, and sometimes the formula is a little bit different too, so I don't like that. But couple things that I do want in minis is I would love for highlighters to come in a mini. Can you imagine if you got like a little quad that looks like eyeshadow pans, but they're actually highlighters? How amazing would that be? Because you would actually be able to go through a highlighter. Like, I would love an eyeshadow palette looking item that would be all highlighters. How cool would that be? You know, it doesn't even have to be like a big palette. It doesn't have to be 12 pans or whatever, but even just like a quad, I think that would be so unique and different. Now, I understand that you can obviously use eyeshadows as a highlighter, but a lot of the time eyeshadows are formulated a bit differently and they don't sit as nicely on top of your skin as highlighters do. So I would like little eyeshadow pans of highlighters to be a thing. I think that would be right up my alley, and it would definitely make me buy more highlighters, because the one thing that is honestly holding me back from buying a lot of highlighters, it's just that because they're so big. I don't need that much product, and I don't want to spend that much money on one shade of a highlighter. Like, to me, that is just not worth it. So I want to see more tiny highlighters. I think that would be a great idea. And the last thing I want to see more of is mini lipsticks. I want to see more mini lipsticks that you can buy as individual lipsticks. I don't want them in a set. I want to be able to buy a lipstick that is this big and that costs like $10. I would happily pay $10 for a mini lipstick of my favorite lipstick formula. And I know I'm not alone in that. I know so many people really enjoy their mini liquid lipsticks, so I really hope that we see more of that next year. And I'm sure I'm totally forgetting about a lot of products that I would like to see more of, so if you guys have any things that you want to see more of, leave them down in the comments and I would love to read them. I'm sure everyone who's watching this video is going to be scrolling down and looking at the comments as well, so let's have a discussion down there and see what else we can come up with. So that was all I had for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!